Perfect. So thanks to those that have joined today. As I mentioned there earlier, it's just myself and Bonnie today. So Bonnie from Bonstar Accounting, myself from ATB Financial, and this is just kind of just an introduction or seminar on the Profit First strategy. So just some brief introductions. Bonnie, I'll let you introduce yourself first there.
Sure. So I'm Bonnie Jensen-Walker, the co-founder of Bonstar Accounting Services, and as well our secondary company, Bonstar, the Profit Strategist. So I'm actually here today because I love Profit First, the cash management system that we use in our own business, and I would love to share it with everyone else that I know.
Perfect. And myself, so Eric Chute from ATB Financial, Business Development Manager, and myself and Bonnie work closely together with a lot of clients. Just I can provide that relationship piece on the banking side of things. And as we'll see as we get into the presentation, the banking piece of the Profit First is a big component of it. So I'll let Bonnie kind of jump right into it.
All right, so I'm going to begin. I know a few of you actually know about who I am and what I do, but I'll just kind of share a bit for those that don't know who I am. So a little bit about Bonstar. I initially created it as a job for myself, and then quickly realized that I created more than that job for myself. I created an atmosphere that helps many small businesses. So now we have a team of 4, which includes my spouse, Rick, and I, and 2 team members. So we work together in our home office, and our team is very passionate about the success of our clients. We love compliance work or bookkeeping work, so our clients don't need to worry about it. Instead, our clients can now focus on what they love to do most, which is growing their own business, spending time with their family. Bonstar provides customized packages for the clients. So depending upon what the clients need, we will provide various packages. But our newest package is actually Profit First. We implemented this in our own business about 1.5 years ago. And we've seen a difference in our own business. So we've started sharing it with our existing client base, and we've seen major differences in our existing client base. And so we're here today because we just want to share a little bit more about it, because lots of people go like they don't understand what Profit First is. And did you know that many business owners, they actually run their businesses from check to check? But guess what? With the Profit First system, you don't have to. So lots of people think that they have to change their habits, but they don't have to change their habits. They just have to leverage them. Have you ever tried to implement a new habit? According to psychologists, it may take approximately 21 days of conscious and consistent effort to create a new habit. Have you ever created that habit and then, gave up on it maybe 2 or 3 days later? Like maybe you want to exercise or whatnot, and you don't feel like it's making a difference, so you just give up on it and figure it's not going to work for you. It takes far longer to break an existing habit. So if you have a bad habit, it takes a long time. Did you know it actually takes an average of 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic? So just like the Profit First system, you have to give it some time in order to see it making a difference. So lots of, in the world of accounting, we always look at sales minus expenses equals profit. But with Profit First, we actually look at sales minus profit, and whatever is left over is left to pay the expenses. So that would be all of your operating expenses, your payroll, and all those kind of expenses that would be happening in your business. One thing is why your accountant or bookkeeper tells you you have profit when your bank account tells you something completely different. So lots of times your accountant or bookkeeper will say, hey, you made a profit of, say, $20,000. But then you look at your bank account and you're like, well, where is that money? I don't have it in my bank account. And the reason is because accounting profit doesn't equate to cash in the bank. And that's where a lot of business owners get messed up on that. So unfortunately, businesses that are profitable on paper go out of business every day because they don't have adequate cash reserves And honestly, CRA doesn't care what's in your bank account. They care about what the profit is on your paper. Now, do you want to maximize your income? So Bonstar's focus is to maximize your income by implementing the Profit First cash management system into your business. Keep in mind, this does not replace what your accountant is telling you for tax purposes. Their strategy is different. This is more of a cash management system. So who do you know that would love to pay themselves as a business owner $148,000 per year based on $425,000 real revenue? I know I would. It would just make life so much easier. In addition, you'd be able to pay yourself a quarterly bonus distribution check. That's right, your business is now serving you with the Profit First system. So, what are the benefits of Profit First? Many business owners have asked me, what are the real benefits of Profit First? There's so many to list, the many reasons or benefits of Profit First. Like for one, there's no more bank balance accounting every day. Have you ever tried to make a financial decision based on what's in your bank account? Like, for example, here's a truth time, and feel free to comment in the chat if you want. Who here has ever spent money before they actually received the cash? It's okay. You can put up your hands. I was down that path as well, right? And this is just another habit we all have, which makes effective cash management all the more important. So why not Profit First? Okay, so we've all done it, starting our business. We have this dream. And you know, a vision of, okay, I want to create this business, but there are many things that go into account for that. So I'd like you all to take a moment to just think about these 4 points. So we all started a business because we either don't want to work for someone else, or we are really passionate about something and we want to be successful by doing the things we are passionate about. So that vision becomes a reality now. Now I want you to think about your current situation. You obviously created your business because you had a vision. Now that you have started your business based on this vision, are you having difficulty managing every aspect of your business? Are you now spreading yourself too thin? Are you trying to make the decisions based on your current bank balance, even though you don't have the money in the bank? Too many business owners wear multiple hats and try to do everything. And trust me, I've been there, done that, and I'm still learning how to delegate some of those hats. All right, the advantage. You need to take advantage of your existing habits. Profit First works with your existing habits. You don't have to change your existing habits to create a habit to implement Profit First. So I've been asked on various occasions, what is the advantage of implementing Profit First? Well, number one, there's no more worries about the dreaded tax bill or payroll source deductions or GST. And yes, those funds are not yours. They're the government's. How about that conference you have always wanted to attend? Now that COVID's over, well, somewhat over with, and we can actually travel to conferences, but you don't have the money to attend the conference. Why not, using the Profit First system, why not set up a separate bank account and actually have funds set aside for that conference that maybe you've been dreaming about going to and have never been able to because you don't have the money? I could list so many more advantages, but you can just let your imagination wander on the various advantages of having these funds set aside for specific things. For example, you could even do it in your personal life, right? Like, how about that exotic vacation? You ever thought about putting money aside, and maybe, 3 years down the road, you have the money set aside for that exotic vacation? So I'm sure you're still wondering, why profit first? Well, are you forcing yourself to be better at accounting, but deep down you really don't like accounting? How many of you force yourself to do your own accounting, your own bookkeeping, and dread it every time? You're up late all night. Do you spend countless hours trying to do that dreaded accounting job that you really didn't want to do going into business? You have this vision, you want to spend more time doing that. Or what about your family and friends are having an event and you're unable to attend it because you have to do your bookkeeping because you have a deadline tomorrow? Do you live check to check? Are you able to pay those dreaded tax and GST bills? And I'll bring that up a few times because lots of times we forget about those dreaded deadlines. Do you rely on your bank balance to make decisions? Do you know whether the funds in your bank account are already used up for other expenses? Maybe those checks that you wrote maybe 3-4 weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, maybe they haven't cleared your bank, so your bank account is higher than what it should be. So a lot of these things will help by implementing the Profit First system. And now I'm going to leave it to Eric to actually talk about the bank accounts.
Yeah, and that's the most exciting part, right? Everyone loves to talk about their bank accounts, right? So, but yeah, once again, thanks for joining today. And just in terms of, so to implement the system on the banking side of things, essentially how it's worked, especially working closely with Bonnie, is she'll kind of go through the whole conversation just in terms of this, and then just refer them over to me. And the good thing about that connection is, just in terms of that relationship banking, for those that don't know me, I have the ability to work from home full time. And I can reach out to clients, meet them at their place of business, at their house, or virtually, as we all have done the last couple of years, just in regards to this. And I know there's definitely some bank accounts that Bonnie will definitely want you to set up, but there's just, as she mentioned, there's just so many different ones that can set up just based on your business. So the biggest ones for sure are the ones listed on the screen here. Obviously, the top one, that's your salary. That's something that every business owner wants. The operating expense account, the income tax one, that's a big one too, just in terms of being able to pay the government the money that's theirs at the end of the year. GST, same type of thing, and then just that savings account as well. So as I said, there is a wide array of options. The good thing is too, is we do a full review of how many transactions, both debits and credits, are going in and out of these accounts, because it will be different for every business owner, and that will help determine what account type makes sense. And with banks too, the charges on different accounts are always changing as well too. So it's good to have that connection and that relationship with someone at your bank to be able to make sure those accounts are always in the correct type, to avoid paying more fees than you have to. So that's the bank accounts required. Now, just in terms of, and Samantha, we'll get to that question at the end here. So just in terms of, so why profit first? Why does it make sense? As Bonnie has mentioned, it's a simple method, and it just obviously it improves your profit, hence the title Profit First, right? Developed by an entrepreneur for entrepreneurs. So for you that haven't read the book, I definitely suggest it. Now it is geared towards the American businesses, but I mean, there's definitely lots of things that come into play and that works on this side of things as well too. So if you haven't read the book, I would definitely suggest it as well. It's been talked about Wall Street Journal, Forbes Accounting Today as an effective method. Integrates very well into traditional accounting and banking methods. So it's very easy to set up on both the accounting side of things. It's very easy to set up on the banking side of things too. And I'm just gonna let someone else in here. So it integrates well into both of those platforms, regardless of what you do. And obviously with the system too, Bonnie is certified in Profit First. She's always getting up to date on new improvements to the strategy and different techniques that it can take on as well. So who may benefit from this? So I know a lot of us are BNI members, so this is always, the common question, who would be a good referral for me? So, I mean, who may benefit from this? So just listen for the following. I said, this might be yourself if it's not something you do. So I've never had any money to pay my taxes. That's always a big one, especially on the banking side of things too. Especially when a business owner comes to us for any lending side of things, it's a hard stop when they owe the government any money for taxes. So this is a good method to make sure that's always up to date. So we avoid that hard conversation when they do come to lending. We can always have these taxes paid up and up to date, so we can move forward with that lending application. Have never taken a paycheck. I know business owners are always the last one to get paid, unfortunately. With this system, this can help alleviate that issue and hopefully have some money in the bank for that paycheck. I want something to show for all my hard work. So that kind of ties into the last one. Just a lot easier to manage your money. Don't have any money to hire more help. This could be as what Bonnie mentioned, that's where you could have that separate account set up that could potentially help save for that. My accountant says I'm profitable, but where is my money? Same type of thing as she mentioned as well too. Yeah, it says you're profitable, but that money is not in the bank in that way. So I don't know where all my money goes. Obviously, that's a big one too, wearing all the hats that a business owner does wear. Sometimes they don't have time to catch up on this and track all that. So with all these separate accounts, I can either be set up automatic or done manually. It's an easy way to do that. So as we mentioned, with our last minute change here, it's obviously a lot less time than we'd anticipated. We threw it together as best as we could, just with the two of us. So there has been a couple questions in the chat. If anyone wants to throw any more in there, we'll go through those. And if anyone does want to pop on and ask too, we can do that too. So the first one there, Bonnie, I'll kind of let you take that one just in terms of regards to Samantha's question, in terms of what our mats and subs, what would that account apply to?
So mats and subs is more geared towards the retail industry. So if you say a clothing store where you purchase goods in order to make a sale. So maybe in Carrie's situation, I'll use Carrie kind of as an example. So with hearing aids, if she purchases hearing aids and stores them in inventory, those hearing aids that she purchases then would be allocated to the mats and subs account. So she would want to set money aside into what they call the mats and subs account, so materials and subcontractors account, so that when she gets the bill for, so she would allocate a certain percent of her real revenue into that account. And then when the bill comes in for the purchase of the hearing aid, she would pay out of that account any of those purchases.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Bonnie. So one other question we have in here. So are the bank accounts mandatory? And if so, what would the fees look like in that? So I'll let you take the first part of that, and then I can take over for the second part.
Okay. So yes, in order for the Profit First system to work properly, it is mandatory to have at least the base 5 accounts set up so that you are physically setting the money aside. If you're not setting the money aside and you only create these accounts in your accounting software, the money is, you're spending the money as it's coming in, and you're not actually doing the proper, what I call the proper allocations for Profit First, because you need to have that money physically set aside in order to, say, allocate to your GST or your taxes or owner's compensation.
Perfect. And in regards to the second piece of that, just in regards to the fees, that would be all dependent too, and that would be why it would be a good connection, just in terms, because we would have that conversation to discuss, how many transactions are going to be throwing this through this account, like for example, debits and credits. So for example, say this GST account, you're wanting to put that 5% aside for GST at the end of the year. Essentially, that'd be probably more than likely set up as a savings account, and it'd be the savings account that we offer where any credit is there's no charge for that. And then in just terms of a debit, there'd be a one-time fee, but if we're only paying that quarterly or yearly, I mean, we'd only have that fee, 4 times a year or once a year, as opposed to where if you just walked into a branch and said, hey, I want to open, 5 accounts, who knows what they're going to open. You might get, a checking account. You might be paying, $5 to $20 an account. So that's why, this connection between Bonnie and myself has worked out that way. Because she has that conversation firsthand, has a list of how many transactions are going to be kind of going in and out of each account, and it's an easy setup for that. So then for that one, and then the next one, Brent just threw one in there. Can you change what accounts you choose to set up or use over time? For instance, add new accounts as the business evolves. 100% yes. For me on my end to change an account type, it's literally 2 clicks on my end. So definitely easy. And as I mentioned, 2 account types are changing too, just in terms of fees and everything too. And that's why it's always suggested to do that yearly review. And I'll try to reach out to my clients the best I can, just in regards to that as well. But for those that are with the ATB that have never talked to me, feel free to connect with me after. Or if you have talked to me, feel free to reach back out. Or if you are somewhere else, if you just want a second opinion and stuff, feel free to reach out as well too. So yes, Brent, very easy to add new accounts, very easy to change the accounts that you already have for sure. And another question that came up too was, If I read the Profit First book on my own, will I be able to implement this system into my business? So I'll let Bonnie take that one.
So yes, you could implement Profit First into your business, but after reading the book, but you have to keep in mind that the book is based on the US. So it doesn't take into account the sales tax here in Canada. The taxes are slightly different. So it's important to actually, I feel like you need a little extra support outside of the book to make sure that you're actually going to be implementing it correctly. And also to, if you do the Profit First system too aggressively, it's going to cause you to give up on it. So it'd be like creating that habit and then just giving up on it because it's not working for you. So if you do anything that's labeled in the book as a rollout plan, it can be quite aggressive and you have to work your way up to it. There's some clients that it takes probably at least 8 quarters before they can actually get to the full rollout plan that's showing in the book.
Perfect. Thanks for that. And then there was one here from Samantha too that I missed. So every business is different, but what is a good percentage to put aside for paying taxes?
That one depends on, of course, the business and the amount of income that they have. So it's always best to go a little higher than be under distributing to your tax account. So in the Profit First system, typically when we're going through the assessment and doing a rollout plan, the allocation for taxes is usually based kind of higher, but it also includes the owner's portion of their taxes owing on their personal tax return.
Perfect. Thanks for that. And then Karen had one on here that will be for me. So has it happened where a business doesn't have the necessary funds in a specific account? And what is done then? So it definitely can happen. And I mean, this is where, as I said, having that relationship with someone at the bank is important too. Because I mean, generally, I'm assuming this would probably be like an automatic payment. So I mean, I'm assuming that's what it's referring to. So I mean, it's definitely happened. Technically, if the funds weren't there, it would take, up to 2 or 3 days for it to actually bounce back. So having that relationship would be a lot easier just to reach out to me and I can just manually push it through. Or there's other ways to set it up too, where you could have the accounts linked in ways too, where it could transfer money over as well. So it definitely has happened. And that's where that relationship piece, just in terms of what I can provide, would be important to have too, just to make sure so that payment doesn't bounce, right? And then Brent had another question. What does ongoing support look like to set up Profit First, and is it also to maintain it over time?
All right, so it depends on how much support you would like. So we do provide like a 3-month program where we support you for the first 3 months. It would take you through the initial assessment, rollout plan, and it would provide assistance on that first quarterly bonus that I mentioned in the slide. And who doesn't want that quarterly bonus? So it would guide you through that first 3 months, which is repetitive over the next 4 quarters. And then the other portion that we have is we have a year-long one, which some of our clients will actually still want the support ongoing after 1 year, and that provides you with the similar support as the 3-month, but an extended out for the whole year, plus some additional support like expense analysis, like because lots of times, we buy a subscription to something thinking that's going to help our business, and you keep paying for that subscription, but then you don't ever use it. So it's going through all those expenses and just analyzing and seeing what you need to run your business, what you don't need, what you can live without, and that sort of thing. So that's the 1 year support for that one.
And then just to follow up to that, Bonnie, do they also need to use your bookkeeping and accounting services to be able to be part of this program, or is this something that you separately offer?
No, Profit First can be a standalone. It doesn't have to be you don't have to be a bookkeeping client of ours. It can absolutely be a standalone. You can hire us as a standalone. We would just need access to your bookkeeping file. So that way then we can actually do the assessment properly. It is highly recommended that the bookkeeping file be current because if it's not current, then we're doing an assessment on not live data.
Perfect. And there's another one in the chat here. Is there a minimum annual revenue you need to have as a business for this strategy to work?
No, there is not. It's good for any type of business. Even startups can start it right from the get-go.
Perfect. So that kind of wraps up all the questions that I had so far. Was there any last minute questions that anyone want to come off mute and ask one or type one in the chat? Perfect. Here's one more. Does Profit First work if there isn't a consistent flow of money coming in?
Yes, it can. It's based on the revenue that is coming in.
And on the banking side too, it would work too. That's where we could set up certain account system in regards to where, you know, there's no fees unless there's, you know, debit or credit transactions going through, depending on the account type. So it definitely would work on the banking side of things as well too, just in terms of no additional fees that way if the accounts weren't being used on a monthly basis. And then that one was, what if you carry a large accounts receivable?
So Profit First can still assist with that because it's based on what's coming into your bank account opposed to what's actually sitting in your AR. And then also too, if there's a large AR being carried, it's highly recommended that we, you know, try to strategize on that and figure out how we can bring down that AR so it's not so high to help bring that cash flowing in a lot quicker.
Perfect. I'll just give everyone kind of 10 more seconds here if there's any last minute questions or everyone to come off mute. But if not, obviously I'd like to thank you for joining us. Obviously we're going to give you about 30 minutes back in your day just in regards due to our last minute kind of change here. But feel free, our contact information is up here on this last slide. I am going to be emailing out the recording to all those that were in attendance and for all those that registered as well. So thanks for joining. If you don't bank with ATB, still feel free to reach out to me with any questions. No issue with that. Same with Bonnie, just in regards to your bookkeeping or accounting. Definitely here to answer any questions. Definitely don't need to be clients. Obviously, we'd like you to, but you don't need to for any questions. So I'll stop the recording here right away. If anyone wants to stay on a network and ask some additional questions, feel free. But I will stop the recording now. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, everyone, for attending.